At this time, I know he's, talk about a busy guy, our special guest today. And maybe you'd like to say a few things about our honorary guest.
Oh, well, thank you, Dr. Crow. It's such a pleasure to have you virtually with us in Mesa. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the partnership that our community and Arizona State University have enjoyed for so many years. The exciting new downtown developments, but with Poly and all the other ways that you have been such a great contributor to the people of Mesa. We were talking, you don't know this, Dr. Crow, but the earlier guests were talking about what loyal ASU alum we are. I don't think there's another city anywhere that is more ASU alum rich and such loyal devils as Mesa. So you're among friends, and we again just want to express our appreciation to you for your willingness to come to Mesa as in order to serve. And the way that you're addressing the challenges and the needs of our community. So thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, Mayor. Happy to be here. It's very exciting. Mesa is one of America's, most forward-moving cities, one of its big cities, one of the 50 largest cities in the United States. And, with a fantastically successful educational system with the Mesa Public Schools, with other colleges that are there, Mesa Community College, ASU Polytechnic Campus, ASU Downtown Mesa. We're very excited to be a part of where Mesa is headed, and very excited to be a part of where your leadership is taking Mesa in sort of a renaissance in terms of where the city's going economically and competitively. It's very exciting.
Thank you, Dr. Crow, for being here. I know, talk about busy, things are coming and changing lightning fast in your position. I moved to Arizona in 1982, and when you thought about ASU, you thought about Tempe. That was just kind of what was ASU. Now it's taken over the whole state. And
well, 1982. Arizona is a new place, the 48th of the lower 48. It's a place that's really rapidly evolved just the last couple of generations. And in '82, ASU was a very solid regional college, but not a national or global research university with a presence throughout the entire valley, drawing all the talent and the energy from the valley and from the rest of Arizona. So, we have emerged in those 40 years since you came, 39 years ago. We've emerged as the newest type of global research university, deeply embedded in our local communities, including Mesa, where we've got the Polytechnic campus that we're going to be expanding and evolving even in just coming up in the next couple of years in very significant ways. The Downtown Mesa program, we've got thousands of people, tens of thousands of people from Mesa who are a part of our various educational activities. So we're very different than we were in '82 by every measure.
Absolutely. The obvious question is, how has COVID affected ASU? What are you guys doing to be flexible and yet at the same time continue great education and to be safe?
COVID is a negative manifestation of a growing complexity on the planet. So, it is the latest virus of several, and the latest of many yet to come. And so we look at this as an opportunity to be of greater service. We built testing systems that are high-speed, saliva-based PCR, 99% plus accurate. We've deployed those across the state. Working with the state, we're a 24/7 institution. We haven't stopped working for 1 minute in the last 13 months that COVID has been here in Arizona. We have tested hundreds of thousands of people. We've graduated more students than we've ever graduated. We have more students than we've ever had. Right now, we're fully operational, as I said, 24/7. I think the main thing that we've learned from COVID is how to accelerate our innovation, how to be of greater service, how to never shut down, how to always move forward, how to always adapt, always adjust. And so what we found is that you can do that. It just requires lots of energy, lots of focus, lots of discipline, and lots of people really willing to work really hard, and we've got those.
Mark, do you mind, Dr. Crow, I had the privilege of teaching as an adjunct a class last semester on campus, and I was really impressed with all of the protocols that ASU put into place to protect the students and the faculty. And it seems like on a national level that there were several large respected institutions that really struggled with that, that were in the headlines, but ASU was not one of them. It seems like you really were an overachiever in terms of the way that the university responded. Is that? Well,
I mean, and it's driven by the notion of either you think of yourself as essential or not, and we are essential. We're essential to people's lives. We're essential to the advancement of society. We're essential to families who are wanting their children to move ahead, and families who want their family members to move ahead. And so, Mayor, the approach that we took was that we don't work for COVID. And so, we work for the people, and that means we have to figure out how to move things forward. We have this model that we call the Swiss cheese model. So all of the tools that fight COVID are filled with holes, like masks, not necessary but insufficient, testing, necessary but insufficient, daily health tests, necessary but insufficient. But if you take all these tools together, the vaccines are necessary but insufficient. If you put them all together, COVID can't get through. If you don't have them together, COVID can get through. And so we took this approach of many, many tools. We have a daily health check that we built that has tens of thousands of users every day, tells you to stay home, not stay home, get a test, not get a test. We have random testing. All this stuff is going to be required even after the vaccines are deployed, because the vaccines are a temporary solution. So the approach, Mayor, is take every tool imaginable, build a cohesive response, and then let it go, and then you can make it work. Our test positivity rates right now for employees are 0.5%. For students are less than that, and so we're operating in a kind of a mini bubble, which works.
That's amazing. I look back on my college days, and I realized I was kind of ahead of the curve. I missed a lot of classes, and I'm thinking I was just being proactive. My grades would.
You were searching for Zoom. See what you wanted is what we now have. So in our 1,000 classrooms, you can just Zoom in if you can't get to class, or maybe you've been infected or you've been exposed and whatever. So any person, faculty or student, can move in and out of any classroom on Zoom. Over 1,000 classrooms, 75,000 learners. For our full immersion program, and then we have another 85,000 students that are digitally immersed with us, so 150,000 students.
Wow, that's fascinating. I just had to rely on the smart guy that sat next to me going to class, but that's probably nothing you want to hear, Dr. Crow.
You were quarantining before quarantine.
Yes, exactly. I was a trendsetter. I'm going to read this because I know this is critical, and I want to ask you the question properly. I know the university assigned some important content creator partners. Explain what that is, and maybe describe some of that.
Well, so one of the things that we found the last few years is that we can greatly enhance educational outcomes by personalizing and individualizing the learning experiences. So we've built relationships with over 200 educational technology companies. We've greatly transformed the technological assist that people have. Intelligent tutors working with individual students, computational assistants, what's called adaptive learning, and so forth. And in the middle of the pandemic, what we've done, and this even segues into things that we're going to be doing in the Mesa City Center with the City of Mesa and ASU, we did a partnership with a company in Los Angeles called Dreamscape Immersive, founded by a guy named Walter Parks, with Steven Spielberg as one of the creative forces behind it. And in dealing with Walter and Steven, what we found is a way to take full Hollywood scale, avatar driven, full immersive virtual reality experiences that they've built for entertainment. We're now converting those and adapting those to teaching science. And we have already built these. We're deploying more of them, and we will be fully deployed by next January with the most advanced mechanisms to learn science, biology in this case, while you take a trip to an orbiting alien zoo 12 light years away, where you're immersed as the scientist with other students from around the country, around the world, in that alien zoo, learning evolutionary biology, learning disease pathogen pathways, learning about ribonucleic acid structures, and all of this going on while you're an avatar character in essentially a scientific movie, which is built as a classroom. And so all of that has been launched since COVID, is under development now, and will be deployed in January.
It's phenomenal.
Dr. Crow, I'm here on a mission to ask you just one question, and so I kind of elbowed my way into the room because I get asked this question all the time, and I'm interested to get your take on it. I'm sure you know the enthusiasm for the ASU Mesa City Center facility is really just growing every day. I mean, that building is taking shape, and we really have an appetite, or we just can't wait for it to be open and to have the impact both socially and economically in our downtown that we know it's going to have. But what is your, I know you've spoken about this before, ASU didn't come to Mesa's downtown wanting to just have, you know, one building. What is your vision for ASU's involvement in Mesa's downtown, you know, once the Sidney Poitier School is up, and how do you see it progressing?
Well, I mean, so Mesa, you know, is one of these 500,000 person cities, you know, the size of St. Louis, the size of Boston, you know, which is emerging a downtown city center, and all major downtown city centers around the country now are increasingly connected to higher levels of creativity, empowerment, educational attainment. And so we're very excited to be a part of the resurgence and emergence of the new Mesa downtown, where we will start with the ASU Mesa City Center facility and the Sidney Poitier New American Film School. Everything digital creativity, digital expression. And then we're also moving with the city to expand our Edson Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, where we can help incubate companies, spin out companies. We're looking to expand our university on the model of one university in many places. And that means we don't think that universities should just be, you know, fortress camps with walls of ivy that you earn your way into if you have wealthy parents or get straight A's in high school. What we think that universities should do is it should be basically distributed, connected throughout the community. So that's why we have the law school in downtown Phoenix and the brand new facilities in downtown Mesa, and all the things that we're going to do on the Polytechnic campus. And then we use technology to tie everyone together. So, Mayor, our long-term vision for our partnership with Mesa is really that we're a part of the emergence of what will be, you know, one of the great future cities of the United States, with vibrant creativity, new job creation, a more broadly educated population, new companies, new enterprises, new activity, new empowerment, new centers for creativity. It's kind of funny. Like, I'm a big believer that it really fascinates me that other parts of the country are this or that. So what? What do we want this place to be? How do we want it to evolve? So we're very excited to evolve ASU's presence in downtown Phoenix, all the way from kindergarten, all the way through graduate school, all the way to lifelong and universal education for the population of the citizens of Mesa. So we're very much focused on that.
You both lightly touched on the new Sidney Poitier Film School that's going to be housed in Mesa. Talk a little bit about that for our viewers at home. That's got to be quite a feather in your cap for Mesa and ASU. How does something like that happen?
Well, I mean, you know, one, you need partners like the city of Mesa to be able to build a world-class facility, so that when we're talking to Sidney Poitier about what would it take to build a truly egalitarian, democratic film school, one that isn't elitist, one that isn't small in size, one that isn't infinitely expensive, one that allows community filmmaking, not just national filmmaking. And so Mesa is our partner. Mesa is our co-investor. And so the film school will actually operate in Mesa, Tempe, and Los Angeles, and students will be moving between those three sites in our new facilities that we have in downtown Los Angeles also, which then allows us to scale. So we will ultimately have thousands of film majors and film minors. A film minor for a mechanical engineering student could change the way that one solves engineering problems. A film minor for a student working in business could help us to figure out new ways to do marketing and so forth and so on, in addition to the fantastic opportunities for creativity being driven by digital technology that the new facility in Mesa will permit.
That's phenomenal. And, you know, I'm just making a note to myself. I'm going to try and get a little diner space somewhere close by, and I'm going to call it "Guess Who's Coming to Dinner." Now, this is just
which was a very good movie.
Yeah, very good movie, and it's pretty obvious to see why I'm unemployed right now.
Sidney Poitier's got some great movies.
Oh, okay. They call me Mr. Tibbs.
Yes,
my favorites.
I just watched Lilies of the Field, where he won his Best Actor Academy Award, filmed in Arizona. I think we're going to see a big surge on Netflix with Sidney Poitier, at least in the Mesa area.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Do you mind, Dr. Crow, we could spend the whole time talking about downtown, but the Poly campus is such a jewel in our community, and it's a self-contained campus. You can go from freshman through graduating as a senior, just staying at Poly. And I know you've opened new dormitories, you've added new programs. That campus is really continuing to grow in a significant way. What's next for Poly? Do you see it expanding in a particular direction?
I do, Mayor. In fact, our goal for the Polytechnic campus of ASU is that it becomes a 15 to 20,000 student university campus, that it becomes competitive with larger polytechnics around the country, like Worcester Polytechnic Institute or the Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. And the notion is a concentration around problem solving and solutions-driven learning. As you said, we just finished a new dorm there. We've been continuing to evolve the campus and its degree programs. And our next big move there has two manifest parts to it. One, we'll be designing and launching a new school for advanced manufacturing. And we will headquarter that school as a part of the Fulton Schools of Engineering at the Polytechnic campus. We're going to be seeking partners to build a world-class advanced manufacturing center, which will then help Metro Phoenix, Mesa and Metro Phoenix, the East Valley, become more and more of a center for new advanced manufacturing in electric vehicles, batteries, microelectronics, hydrogen systems, hydrogen-based energy systems, renewable energy systems, all the things that have to be manufactured in really advanced ways, as well as laying the foundation for the region to become a distributed manufacturing network. One of the things that we've learned during COVID is that PPE can be manufactured anywhere. So all the restaurants that went out of business, if they'd had 3D printers, the same skill set, the same staff could have been manufacturing PPE. And so we have a way to distribute manufacturing now across the population using the internet. Well, we need those systems to be developed. And then the second thing on the Poly campus, Mayor, going forward is that we're doing everything that we can to invigorate the several hundred acres that we've set aside as the next innovation corridor or innovation district, like the one that we have in Tempe, like the one that we have in Scottsdale at Skysong. And so this would be larger and more linked to manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, complex manufacturing, manufacturing support systems. And so we're very excited to get both of those projects going on the Polytechnic campus.
We've heard a lot over the last year that the pandemic has just accelerated what was already happening. How do you see that as far as job creation, or what parts does ASU play in the future of that? It's
a really important question, and it gets all mixed up, because it turns out that since the pandemic started, if a person didn't finish high school, there's 25% fewer jobs for those folks. And it doesn't mean that the people that didn't finish high school aren't capable of working or don't want to work. They are very capable of working and do want to work. But what's happening is that more and more jobs now are becoming technologically enriched or replaced by technology, then creating new jobs to produce that technology to do the jobs that used to be done by people and are now being done by technology. Think about bank tellers as an example of the way that this has worked. And so what's going to be happening in the acceleration here is the rapid, highly accelerated, light speed transition of the economy into all things augmented by knowledge-driven enterprises. So I was listening this morning to the CEO of Lyft talking about their autonomous vehicles and autonomous vehicle systems and autonomous vehicle networks that will be working on B2B shipping, shipping of parts, from one business to another business, not being taken by a truck or this or that. So what that means then is that the economy of the future is going to be dramatically different than the economy of the past, more technologically based, more knowledge-driven based, and it's going to require higher and higher levels of lifelong learning and education for everybody. So where we see things going is that the speed of change is going to accelerate, and if you can get on with that, then you're going to have more opportunities, more jobs, higher incomes. All these things are possible, but you've got to be able to get into the flow of the river. The old rivers are not going to work in the same way. It's new rivers, new rapids, and you need a new canoe, probably a kayak, actually, with a small cover to keep the water from coming in, because the rapids are moving higher. They're not moving lower.
Dr. Crow, this topic that you raised, I think, is really on the tip of the tongue nationally, and you see post-high school education at a level that the rest of us, you're in a much better vantage point than we are. But I keep hearing that we're having declining enrollment at this point as a result of COVID, due to, well, I always thought that during economic downturns that higher education enrollment went up. But
you're talking.
Is that what's happening now?
So our enrollment is up 7.5%. So we have no decrease in enrollment at all, and our online enrollment is up 20% and accelerating. And so enrollments are up or down in some ways based on an institution's ability to adapt to COVID itself. And so there's a lot of things that are going on. But Mayor, to your root question, we will suffer immensely if we continue to produce any high school dropouts. I'll just let that sink in for a second. We will suffer immensely. Those folks, for the most part, with some rare exceptions, and everybody focuses on the rarity, the super genius, who could solve the math equation at age 5. Okay, well, there's one person like that for every 100 million people. I wouldn't exactly think that's going to be the outcome for all of us. Some of us, like me, and we had to go to college forever to be able to get anything done, and that's meant to be a joke. And so the high school, we've got to get everyone through high school with a 21st century high school diploma. Right now, we've got a lot of great 1950s high school diplomas, and that means people aren't ready for what lies ahead. So if I say to the average citizen, listen, the vaccine that you're taking is a messenger ribonucleic acid configuration of DNA altering molecules that are going to alter the way in which your body interacts with an attacking ribonucleic acid, also known as COVID, you should actually be able to understand that. And we don't, for the most part, because our educational framework is inadequate. And then once we get everybody through high school, we need to start treating everybody with more respect and more dignity based on any choice that they take, the military, technical school, community college, university, and then realize that all those people, regardless of the choices that they take, it doesn't make any difference if you're a carpenter or a plumber or an electrician or whatever. You're still living in a highly technologically advanced, very complicated economy, very complicated democracy, and very complicated, as you know from the virus, biological system. You must be educated to be able to, throughout your life, to be able to keep up. So we've got to change the notion that somehow education is for a single small part of your life, a single small part of your existence. You either go to college or you don't go to college. That's absurd. You should be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want to do it, once you finish high school. We just have to get everybody to finish high school.
Well, thank you. That's encouraging to hear that ASU's enrollment is up, because I'd heard that some other higher education institutions were struggling as a result of COVID. So I'm not surprised that ASU's innovated, its way out of that trajectory.
Well, we already know for the fall semester coming up, we've never seen applications like we have now. It is beyond belief what's happening to us right now.
Wow. And by the way, for the viewers at home, if you didn't understand that question that Dr. Crow put out there, feel free to email me and I'll get back to you on that, because I was on that. I was right there with you on that. I have no idea what you said, but I can find the area of a triangle, which has never helped me at all.
No, well, that's actually not true. If you can find the area of a triangle, you know what area is. If you know what area is and you can find the area of a triangle, you know that there are objects that are more complicated than squares or circles. And so it turns out that you have a calculating capability now that you may not have had before you knew how to figure that out.
Wow. See, for years I've been telling people that I'm a genius. No one's ever listened. And
so it's kind of funny, so we make everybody take algebra and people say, well, I don't need any algebra. We say, well, algebra isn't about math. It's not about learning algebra. You don't really need algebra for the sake of algebra, except in a few fields. But algebra teaches the concept of solving for an unknown. Yeah. Once you know how to solve for an unknown, once you then understand there are unknowns, you have to solve for unknowns. There are methods to solve for unknowns. That's all you really need to know. And it teaches that to you and then gives you that as a conceptual tool.
Wow. I like this.
There you go.
I think there's a reason you're where you are, and Mayor Giles and I are not. I've got a question for you. This is kind of off this topic, but our research team here at Mesa Morning Live delved into your past, and apparently you were quite an athlete in your younger days. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Well, I mean, I grew up in a military family, and so my father said, "You won't be anything but an athlete because you have to get out onto the battlefield." So all my brothers and I, we were all football, wrestling, track and field, and all that, and did all kinds of things and lots of fun. I was a heavyweight wrestler.
Wow.
And then when I went to college, I became a javelin thrower. I had other events, but I really focused my energy at Iowa State. I was a javelin thrower. Really liked being a javelin thrower. I loved training, loved sports. I think it should be a part of as many people's lives as possible. It teaches all kinds of things, and it was unbelievably powerful for me, and even occasionally fun, except when you get beat over and over and over and over. And I guess you learn something from that also. So I as a heavyweight wrestler, so I weighed. I go through various levels of fatness, and so but I would wrestle people that weighed over 100 pounds more than I did. And a funny thing about that was that so people would say, "Well, those guys are just big fat hogs." And I said, "Have you ever seen a shaved grizzly bear? They look a lot like those guys. And there's a layer of flubber on the outside, and below that are muscles and bones so powerful. I used to feel my shoulder ligaments being separated from the bone because these quote unquote fat people were so strong that they were going to rip my arm off. So I was also that kind of athlete, just one that was trying to survive while being crushed by shaved grizzly bears."
Wow, that is a great, you just described me, except for not the shaved part. And by the way, as a guy that used to live in Iowa and now I live in Arizona, good move on your part. Much better weather here than Ames, Iowa.
Yes, there were some cold days in Ames, Iowa. That's right.
And by the way, javelin thrower, that's a cool sport. Javelin catcher, that's down the ladder.
Yeah.
I saw a kid hit with a javelin once. That's not a pretty scene. It went through his thigh.
Oh man, I'm gonna be on YouTube looking for that later on. Well, Dr. Crow, when I always say that our main guests are busy, and they usually are, but I know, what do you do in your spare time? Is there such a thing? Do you have like 2 or 3 minutes a day that you're not getting smarter?
You know, I spend a lot of time reading. I love to hike. I hike everywhere, go everywhere. I just love to climb stuff, and sadly, as I've gotten a little bit older, I keep trying to break records. And so I was trying to break this one record of this hike I was on, and I could tell I was running down this hill, and I could tell, you're probably going to fall. You're probably going to fall. You need to slow down. You're probably going to fall. And then I fell. And by the time I get home, my wife is looking at my shirt, and she says, "What an idiot. You have brown, bloody mud all over the outside of your shirt, your pants, your legs. What are you doing? Are you still running? Are you stupid? Are you still running?" And so I like to hike, I like to run, and I like not to fall when I can keep from falling.
That's awesome. Your wife and my wife sound very similar. And by the way, my goal, I'm a very goal-driven person. My goal is to be the oldest person to ever hike Mount Everest. The current record is held by an 84-year-old guy. So I'm just waiting. I mean, there's no reason to peak early. I'm going to start training.
Well, now you can go over there and you can get somebody to like carry you up there with your oxygen mask on. So I don't know. There may be ways to do it. So.
That's awesome. Well, Dr. Crow, in all seriousness, thank you so much. You know, I used to travel all around this great country. And when people found out I was from Arizona, they inevitably would say, "Man, ASU, if I could do it all over again, I'd go to ASU." There's nothing like walking through that campus in the winter and seeing the beautiful campus, and you're just, I mean, it continues to get better and better. So keep up the good work. If somebody's sitting here at home and watching this, and they've got a grandson or granddaughter that's thinking about where should they go to school, got a pitch for ASU?
We're ready. The pitch is we've got over 400 degrees. We've got kids from 140 countries, every state. We've got a learning environment that's made up of what the world really looks like, with a fantastic faculty of over 5,000 people that are really driving forward every level of creativity imaginable. So, and we're not stuck up. And so come on down. We're ready.
That's awesome. You know, I haven't been south in a while. Is U of A still there?
Yeah, they're open. They're open.
All right.
You know, we have a can and a long string. We're communicating to them, you know, saying, you know, come on up. The coast is clear. I
joke U of A will always be there because not everybody can get into ASU.
There's that, yeah.
So, Dr. Crow, thank you. Thanks for laughing at that, by the way. And if you're a wildcat, it's a joke. Thank you so much, Dr. Crow, for coming. Man, keep an eye out for all the great things that ASU is doing, not only in Mesa, Polytechnic, Scottsdale. They're taking over. It's basically going to be, it's going to be ASU.
For sure. Well, Dr. Crow, we're excited to have you out to Mesa, show you what all the ripple effect that the downtown campus is already creating, and we got some great hikes for you too. So we'll try to get on.
I've done a lot of hikes in Mesa. There's a lot of great places to hike. So
yes, there is.
Thank
you. All right, nice to see everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Crow, for being here.